Welcome back to our study called The Beginning of Civilization, and we're in Genesis chapter 4, verses 25 and 26 today. Today we're talking about God brings hope. First we see the birth of Seth here. It's interesting that Eve names her son God's appointment. She calls her son after Abel's murdered. So Eve takes solace in the fact that God had chosen in his amazing plan to give her another son to stand in the place where Abel was. Clearly Cain and his line had gone the way of evil. They were offspring of the serpent. But who would go the way of God? She knows the promise that God gave her, but what's going to happen next? Cain obviously has gone off the rails, and then you got Abel is gone. So is there another one? Is there someone else that will come to carry on this offspring that will bruise the head of the serpent? Because clearly Cain is not the one. Who could it be? That's where God appointed Seth. The promise that one of Eve's offspring would crush the serpent's head was still good. God's promise was not thwarted after all. And it wasn't because of the death of Abel that caused all the problems. It was God could overcome all that. So God had already appointed another. And so Seth grew up, married, and had a child of his own. And he named his child Enosh. At that time, we're told about the beginning, really, of corporate worship here. The corporate worship of God. In verse 26, it says, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. People, together. Remember that the word of the Lord here is a mark for the divine name of God. It's capital L-O-R-D. They're all capitals, which means that we're talking about the divine name of God. So people began to call upon the divine name of God here. Calling upon the name of the Lord in the Old Testament is usually about public worship. We'll see later in other chapters where you have Abraham constructing altars, and they're calling upon the name of the Lord. So we see here the line of Seth gathering to offer their worship to God. This is really a stark contrast to Cain's line. Cain's line made advances in music, technology, agriculture, but Seth's line began to call upon the name of the Lord. And that's what his line, his family would be known for. And that's amazing to think about. The difference, Moses has set up the difference between Cain's line and now Seth's line, and showing the differences here. Yeah, Cain's line did some great things, did some amazing stuff, were innovators, inventors, and all that, but Seth's line called upon the name of the Lord. And that's the important thing here. And that's what we need to know about Seth, and that's what we need to think about of our own heritage too. What are we leaving behind? Are we setting the example for our families to follow us in following God? Or are we following Cain and his way? And will our families follow in that direction?